First, I didn't take this seriously. I didn't think it was a thing. I didn't think it was possible. I thought it was a meme for the most part. And people mentioned Yamato for Straw Hat. And of course, this was Yamato in chapter 983. When he first turned up, people were saying, well, you know, what if Yamato joins the Straw Hats? And for me, I'm like, well, I guess so. Because people have been saying Carrot should become a Straw Hat. Momonosuke, obviously. There was mention of Hiyori for a while, and that's just in Wano. Every time you go to a different arc, there's always mention of who should become a Straw Hat. I really just want more development for the current Straw Hats. So I think adding more Straw Hats would be problematic, but I think it's inevitable. I've always maintained that Carrot could join. She wants to go on an adventure. She could be a lookout. She's decently strong. She has a built-in buff with the minks and the moon stuff. And I think she checks the box with Luffy's crew in regards to diversity. Luffy's crew is made up of a very diverse cast. Different people, different species. Carrot joining the crew would actually make a lot of sense. I also said Momonosuke should probably join the crew. Now people are saying Momonosuke, yes, to stay in Wano. He's a Kozuki, the last male member of the Kozuki clan. Well, yeah, but Hiyori's there, right? One Piece is the story of freedom, and in a way, they're trying to break away from all the bullshit that's happened in the past that's kind of made the world the way it is now. So I think Oda could break away from that and make Hiyori the shogun of Wano, and no one would bat an eye, because at this point, she's the oldest surviving Kozuki member. I don't see the big issue there, and I think she has a lot of support in regards to retainers, with Inarashi, Nekomamushi, Ashidoji, Denjiro. She has a lot of people that can support her, and they would follow her no matter what. I think Denjiro and her establishing that relationship for a long time, there's no question Denjiro would support Hiyori being the shogun of Wano. And personally, I think Momonosuke has a lot of growing to do. The best way for him to do that is to go on a trip with Luffy or go on a journey with Luffy. Maybe he can bring back this information to his people, and going from there, that would actually lead to a better world. Momonosuke also slots in very well as a cabin boy, and we know the gag with him is that he gets along very well with the women, so he would be quote-unquote a cabin boy, but they would treat him a lot differently, and he'd probably have a lot more privileges than a regular cabin boy would have. And I could see a cool gag in Moments of Distress where he mentions the fact that he's the next shogun of Wano, they need to respect him, and that's when him and Luffy get into small fights. Be a cute thing that could happen. And also, a true benefit of Momonosuke joining the crew is Zoro could actually train him in swordsmanship, right? We saw when Zoro was training and using Enma, Momonosuke was already learning from Zoro, learning different things, of course, words that Kiku said he should not say, but it shows that relationship is already there and established. So something I came across recently is the fact that the Straw Hats, they don't sleep that much, especially Zoro as far as like his sleep schedule. I think he sleeps about 3 hours or so. That's why he takes so many naps during the day. So for Momonosuke, I can see him being up with Zoro and in some ways adopting his personality. And Zoro also having his father's blade, it'd be perfect for him to learn swordsmanship from him while having Ami no Habikiri. I think that would be just amazing. Now, on to the prospects of Yamato joining the crew. Like I said, at first, I was like, what are we talking about here? Every new character gonna say they should join the crew? And I actually thought about it. And I was like, okay, she's dummy thick, but beyond that, there are some interesting things that would lead me to believe Yamato would be great as a part of the Straw Hats. First thing that's a bit controversial, I'm not sure exactly how I want to say this, but Yamato could fill the role of the trans character. Hear me out, guys. Hear me out. Because I'm not sure exactly like how I want to explain this. And people have been talking about it. I don't think it should be that deep or that serious, but because people are talking about it in the comment section, I feel like I have to explain it. Yamato is identifying as Oden. Oden is a male. So people are saying to address Yamato as he. For me, Yamato is identifying as Oden in particular, right? In which, in a way, she's somewhat cosplaying, and I don't mean to undermine those important issues, but that's how I view it in this situation. But I'm not sure how deep Oda will take this. If Yamato does join the crew, right? If Yamato really wants to continue Oden's will, that's a permanent thing that she's adopted in regards to being a man and continuing Oden's will as a man. So therefore, Yamato would be a female on the crew that they address as he. And that would be another character, another different type of character adding to the Straw Hats. And not saying just meeting a quota, but the Straw Hats, they're a very diverse group, and Yamato, based on how she is and how much contention is caused throughout the community, and contention is a strong word, not contention, but discussion, I think she could fit. I think she could actually work here. It is a very sensitive topic for some people, though. That's why I'm making sure I'm being as clear as possible, because I think Oda, in a way, is trying to address some of these things that's going on, but in a low-key way. And again, it's not that big of a deal, right? I don't think it's going to be as deep as the community is making it, but so many people are talking about it. I'm like, yo, this is honestly ridiculous. Because one thing that's true is, like, if Oden was a female, it wouldn't matter. It's just like, what are we doing? I think we have to wait and see what Luffy calls her and other people in general. It's interesting, Kaido called her his son, so I think that's part of the reason why this has kind of spiraled as much as it has. Another reason why Yamato would actually be great is just the mere fact that Yamato is a female, and Yamato is decently strong. Just off rip, we've talked about Yamato's showings versus ulti, an ancient Zoan that's been labeled to be very strong, with one blow holding off Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd Luffy pretty casually, leads me to believe that Yamato could be as strong as Sanji and Zoro, if not stronger, right? And if Yamato joins the crew by that point, Sanji and Zoro, they may have their growth spurt or their bloom, whatever you want to call it, so they'll surpass Yamato. Yamato will be around the Jinbei, slightly higher than Jinbei, and at this point, for the end of the series, that would actually be fantastic, because it's definitely a numbers game. The person we see them fighting at the end of the series is Blackbeard. Blackbeard currently has 10 crewmates, 11 including himself. Luffy currently has 9 crewmates, 10 including himself, so if he gets one more, then he can match up with Blackbeard. Adding Carrot and Yamato would be interesting, but Blackbeard could also add another character to his crew by the end of it, so I think it would work out really well. We don't know if Yamato has a devil fruit yet, right? She possibly could have a devil fruit, and personally, I would love it if Yamato came on the crew, and then she's just exploring Yami's tangerine tree. And it's funny because there were theories back in the day about Monet and her devil fruit and where it spawned, and people were saying maybe Nami's tangerine tree. The speculation was that Carrot would eat that fruit, and she would become a snow bunny, right? A snow Logia. Yamato fulfilling that role would be great. This is a bit deeper, but Yamato, with a kanji meaning great and harmony, but it means that Yamato's bringing great harmony to the Straw Hats, meaning she's the final member of the crew, and then the Straw Hats would finally be complete. If we go even deeper than that, Yamato's motivations. One thing that's clear, Yamato wants to continue the will of Odin. What did Odin want to do? Odin wanted to open the borders of Wano, but even more than that, Odin went on a great journey with the Pirate King. So for Yamato, basically knowing Odin's will, wouldn't it be perfect if Yamato went with Luffy, and then she's able to accomplish or continue what Roger left behind because Odin could not complete that? I think Yamato would actually be perfect for the crew, going on travels, continuing Odin's will, fulfilling the prophecy of Joy Boy with Luffy that Odin can do with Roger. I don't think there's ever been a slam dunk next Straw Hat any more than Yamato. Like literally, based on everything she represents, her strength, the fact that she's a female, the fact that she's an interesting female in regards to male, female, right? I'm there. Yamato for Straw Hat. I am championing that entire thing because it is too perfect. And again, her coming on the journey, Momonosuke being there as well, them both learning the history of the world, it's ideal. I don't really have any negatives as far as Yamato joining the crew. The only issue is that once more people join the crew, like I stated before, the current members will become more background characters, and essentially chapter to chapter, arc to arc, it's gonna be just gag heavy. We don't know Yamato's gag is yet, but I'm sure she will have one, especially if she's a Straw Hat prospect. I know it's a bit much expecting 3 new people to join the crew and sail with the crew, but Momonosuke's been there the entire time, Carrot's been there for a while, ever since Zoe. Momonosuke's been there since Punk Hazard, so to me, more the merrier. Honestly, the only negative I could possibly think of is the fact that Yamato has Odin's journal, and this goes back to what we think is written in said journal. Personally, I was saying that that could contain the secrets of the world, like everything that Roger learned about Joy Boy, and that would essentially ruin Luffy's dream. But let's say, for instance, Odin did not directly write down everything he learned, right? Because of course that would be risky, having a journal like that, and the fact that Yamato found it just shows that something that important in regards to the One Piece probably shouldn't be in that journal. What Odin could have information in regards to is possibly the final poneglyph, but also what Joy Boy is supposed to do. And I think Yamato knowing that information, and I don't think that would ruin Luffy's dream. And I guess if I think Yamato's going to be a Straw Hat, the journal definitely won't contain what the One Piece is, just information in regards to Joy Boy, and basically continuing that legacy. So that negative can quickly be turned into a positive, just based on what's written in the journal. We also can't forget Yamato's connection to Ace, and in a way, Luffy's already carrying on Ace's will, so I don't think it would be bad if there's another member carrying on Ace's will that's a part of the crew. It would be very interesting seeing Yamato meet Sabo, who is the brother of Ace and Luffy, and again, great harmony, she's connecting everything. It's so many things rolled into one, Odin, Roger, and Ace, everything there with Yamato, and we've been saying for a long time, we would like if a strong individual joined the crew that was a female. We have our swordsman, we have our chef, we have our doctor, our navigator, archaeologist, we have all these different people, but now we have a clubman, right? And we could have maybe the second best clubman in the world, maybe she's third behind Alvida, we're not sure exactly, but I think Yamato would be perfect on the crew. I know if she does join the crew, there's going to be a lot of power scaling conversation because people are going to try to throw Sanji behind her because automatically she's a strong woman, so Sanji would never fight a woman, so automatically he's behind that. I think that's just silly, but if she were to join the crew, in regards to power scaling, she's not too strong to be a part of the crew. Like people are saying Katakuri should join the crew, I'm like, Katakuri? You think Katakuri should join the crew? I know it's a meme, I love Katakuri as well, but Katakuri joining the crew? That would be actually insane. As much as I would love it because we'd see him all the time, that donut gag would be hilarious. He's just way too powerful to join the crew. I think Yamato's perfect. She literally slots in perfectly. Something that's also important to consider is the perception of Luffy's crew post Wano. Jinbei has already joined officially, which of course bolsters Luffy's crew, but if we get Yamato as well, who will be viewed to the world as Kaido's son, Yamato officially gets a bounty after he leaves Wano. And if Yamato's anything like Odin, remember Odin was very inquisitive when he left Wano, getting into a lot of issues, which made people very aware of him. And again, lineage is important in One Piece, so imagine how people would look at Luffy's crew crew, if he goes to Wano, like pre-Wano, Luffy's already being acclaimed by Big News Morgans as a Yonko. And then if he leaves Wano, beating Big Mom and Kaido, maybe not getting full credit, but most of it, and then also getting a Warlord in Jinbei and Kaido's son on his crew, yeah, at that point, Luffy would have a Yonko caliber crew. I think right now, Luffy's individual power level is kind of used against him in this case, and I think that's fair because, you know, with your territories, etc., if you had some, how would you defend it? It would essentially be like Marco and the remnants of the Whitebeard Parks. Like, they tried to defend Whitebeard's territory, but Blackbeard just took it. And I think Oda was trying to make that distinction clear in regards to the Yonko, whereas like Marco was trying to defend something, Blackbeard came and took it. Marco did not have the requisite strength to overcome Blackbeard, and of course it wasn't just Marco, it's the entire crew. But Luffy's situation is a bit different because Luffy has a grand fleet, and if Luffy gets Jinbei and Yamato, he's not that far off. I mean, I think post Wano, Luffy probably will be acknowledged as a Yonko, because obviously Wano will be his territory, Wano's borders will be open, the Minks will stay there permanently. It honestly is gonna be great. Like, now I want to talk about like the world post Wano, like exactly how things are gonna happen post Wano, like what's gonna go down, because we can't forget that Imusama, there's this lingering plot line of a cleansing. Something also just came to me, and Oda could play with this a lot in regards to Yamato joining the crew. I kind of mentioned Odin, right? And Odin being in Wano, and is that the reason why all these big names are in Wano right now? Say Yamato joins the crew. She leaves Wano, and she's saying her name is Odin, right? That's what she's telling everyone her name is, and of course she has the Hanya mask on. In some ways, they would label her as a man, and if she is Odin, can you imagine the world government reacting to Luffy having Odin on his crew? That would be a greater reaction than knowing it's Kaido's son. So that could be a gag that's played up for a while, in which even Yamato's first bounty picture would be with the Hanya mask, and they think it's actually a man, and she gets an insane bounty because she's identifying as Odin. So Luffy's crew has insane potential post Wano. I literally can't wait. Yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Give me thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel.